Everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Inside High School Sports. My name's Alex Brasky alongside Nate Ryder of the Batavia Daily News. Special something for this week's episode. We have a new title sponsor, Nate, the Tonawanda Valley Federal Credit Union. Of course, at TVFCU, we know members love our low loan rates and our low account fees, but our expert staff is really what everyone raves about. If you are not a member, consider joining and learn why our TVFCU members are considered friends, family, and fans. You know, we got a lot of fans too, Nate, especially you.
We're hitting the big time.
New members are always welcome at TVFCU. Stop in at 10 Jefferson Square, that's right behind Wendy's in Batavia. So, Nate, let's jump right into it. The big story this week is Super Sectional Wrestling. And myself and Chris Metcalf were able to stop out with a couple of local teams that are sending a bunch of wrestlers to the Super Sectional tournament. And we'll start with the Batavia-Attica wrestling team. 3 champions last week at Class A2 sectionals, and they'll all participate in Division I this weekend at Cirque Center at Brockport College. But beginning with Casper Stewart, a back-to-back champion. His father, if you read this week's Daily News, is deployed down south and will go to the Middle East. So that's a big story. Also, Josh Barber, a repeat champion. He lost last year but won the year before, so his second title. And then there's Travis Kauffman, who won his first title of his career. So all different routes to their title, but probably an exciting time to be a Batavia-Attica wrestler.
You know, with Stewart, I mean, he's looking at possibly 6 sectional titles. He's only in 8th grade. He's already won 2.
And he beat a senior this year.
Yes. And so he's one of the best young wrestlers around. And, you know, a lot of credit to Josh Barber. Nobody knew if he was coming back from that horrible leg injury he suffered during football. And, you know, he came back and kind of peaked at the right time. And, yeah, they didn't have enough all across the board to make a run at a team sectional title. But whenever you get 3 individual sectional champions, especially in A2, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And this weekend, the Batavia Daily News, we will be setting up a live stream of the Division II finals at the Super Sectional tournament, but we will be bringing you coverage of the Division I tournament as well next week. But before we get there, those wrestlers have already participated in the preliminary rounds this afternoon and this evening, but here's a little bit of what the Batavia-Attica wrestling team had to say upon my visit with them earlier this week. I mean, it's got to feel good having 3 guys at the top of the podium at the end of sectionals.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what you strive for all year long, is trying to get on top of the food chain. So, you know, there they are. They took care of business.
Now, 2 of them are repeat champions, Josh and Casper. Travis, first-time champion. Tell me about the difference in the routes that each 3 of them kind of took to this point. But how much their hard work and determination really kind of rose to the top.
Yeah, well, Travis has been right on the cusp right along. He was 4th last year at Super, so he hasn't been far off. It's just a matter of throwing it together the way he did last week. That dominant performance he had in the finals was just crazy. To be able to tech a guy in the finals and sectionals, that's a big deal.
Hey, you don't see that very often.
Yeah, so he's hitting on all cylinders right at the perfect time, so we're proud of him. And as far as Casper and Josh, they've been groomed for this for a long time. Coach Stewart has made it a mission of his to make these guys great right from day one. So,
how big of an impact has he had on the success, even though he wasn't able to be there this past weekend?
Well, he stays in touch with us frequently. So, I mean, it's like I called him before Casper's match just to make sure that we were, you know, I had the same game plan about how we were going to approach it, whether we were going to be conservative or whether we were going to let it loose a little bit more. And we both came to the consensus we were going to open up a little bit more. And so, you know, he's always part of the deal. I mean, he's in a different spot. It probably would have been different if things were like, you know, 50 years ago. But now I can get on the phone and talk to him and run things by him. So, yeah, he's part of the whole process.
I feel like I'm getting there, and hopefully by the end of this week's practice, I'll be there. Well, I think my experience will help me a lot with this week because because of my injury, I'm not in the best shape, not best condition. So if I just wrestle the match smart and safe, then I should have nothing to worry about.
Take us through your final match this past weekend. What do you think was the key moment in that match, and what do you think turned the tide for the win?
The key moment was really just me wrestling my match. I controlled the pace of the match the whole time, and the main thing was just me riding him out. I wouldn't let him get up.
Now, what do you think was the key for you in your match, and what do you think turned the tide and really set you, like Coach said, on your way to teching a guy in the final?
Just keep my pace, control the match, riding tough on top, get some turns. Just get ready to go hard and don't stop. Once you get on a leg, you always finish.
Just how proud are you yourself for once again reaching the mountaintop?
It's a very, very good feeling. Getting that win was really big for me. Gave me a boost so I know I can do it. I'm pretty excited. There's going to be a few big ones this weekend.
All right, and another wrestling team, and this, I think, is a school record, Nate. 14 wrestlers they're sending to the Super Sectional tournament, and that's the Perry Yellow Jackets. They had 2 sectional champs this past week, and they're both 3-time sectional champion, 3-time LCAA champions. That's Cole Leitten and Brock Conaway. And we also spoke with head coach Phil Leitten, Cole's father, about those 2 success and just what it means overall to be a Perry wrestler. They've really committed themselves out there in Perry from the youth level on up, and it's really came to fruition, all of their hard work, that is, with their performance this year.
14 to Super Sectionals.
Yeah, it's
That's
incredible.
impressive. I mean, you got to have multiple kids in the same class, weight classes. And, and what's even more impressive with Perry is, people consider Perry a basketball school.
Yeah. And Chris mentioned that in the interview. I don't know if it made the show, but he mentioned that, so it's funny you say that.
And they've groomed these basketball players from when they're really young, and they have a great youth program. So to have such success wrestling, they're doing something right. And, you mentioned Leitten and Conaway. I mean, those 2 have been around forever, and they've been getting it done. And, I think they're probably showing the rest of these kids what it takes to get to this point and, to keep moving forward and to try to peak at the end of the year, because they've obviously done it before.
Yeah, and Cole said that during Chris's interview. He said what they've set the stage for is a resurgence, maybe not a resurgence, but a surge of Perry wrestlers just coming up from the lower levels and seeing what success can be like and really taking a hold of that and making it their own. But like I said, Chris stopped out with the Perry wrestlers, Cole Leitten, Brock Conaway, and head coach Phil Leitten.
Coach, can you sum up what's been going on over here at Perry? What's in the water?
Well, the biggest thing is the youth program growing so much, and they really started the youth program coming up through, and not to mention the parents sticking behind their children and sticking behind the program altogether.
Can you sum up the fact that you got 14 kids going to make the trip this week to Brockport? That's crazy.
It is crazy. A lot of newcomers and basically like dark horses that came out of nowhere. I mean, some of the weight classes weren't so tough as others, but with 14, it set a school record. It's just, you can't be any more proud than that, just having all them, and they just want to keep moving on. They say they're going to keep practicing for 4 weeks because they want to go to the state tournament. Well, I think Cole has a really good shot at doing it. I mean, like you were saying, he made supers, the semis, 2 years in a row now, and he's just the little things that he's missing, and he's really cleaned it up this year. It's the best I think I've ever seen him wrestle. With Brock's just an animal. He's one of them kids that everybody's afraid of. As soon as he walks out onto the mat, no one wants anything of him.
It all goes back to the practice room 100%. Without the coaches and the wrestlers on this team, there's no way I'd get where I am. For the past, since 7th grade, since we've both been wrestling in 7th grade, it's always went back to the practice room, going in and day out, grinding it out, and then it shows on the mat every time.
What do you got to say about just kind of winning 3 in a row, both sectionals and counties?
That was actually pretty cool. We were the first LCAA 3-timers at Perry, which was cool. Again, it goes to the practice room, and the coaches. We had some phenomenal coaches, starting with Mancari and then ending with Phil and Corey.
The number 1 goal this week is to get on top of that podium at the Section 5 Super Sectionals. Brock, is that the number 1 goal right now?
Yes, it is. You got to do one step at a time, and that's to get on the top of the podium this weekend.
And you obviously last year made that trip. Cole, how important is it to get to Albany this year?
It's everything to me. I've been working since I was a little kid for the same goal. And again, it goes back to practice room. And this weekend, it's one match at a time. Every match starts 0-0. You got to go out there, grind every match, and then what happens, happens.
What's it mean to put on a yellow jacket singlet?
It's everything. Coming from the old timers from 50 years ago, just all the records they had up there, the ones we're breaking, it means everything. The fact my father's a coach and my mentor, Corey Hollister, he's been there for me in my corner since I can't even remember.
It's honor. We followed some good wrestlers coming up through, starting in 7th grade, but I always wanted to set some records when I was coming up through, and I did, but now we got Noah and Holden coming up, which are probably looking to break our records that we're going to set.
All right, Nate, now over to the hardwood, the Caledonia-Mumford boys. We stopped out with them and head coach Dan Dickens. A big win over Geneseo. It was a tight game again, between those two the first time around, but Caledonia-Mumford really put their foot on the pedal and ran away with that one. And we talked with Coach Dickens after the game, and he was really impressed with his guys' effort. And coming off a loss to York, their third time playing that team, he was really looking for his team to put forth a good effort, and that's exactly what we saw against Geneseo.
Yeah, it's not a team that's going to lose back-to-back games very often, especially with Vin Molisani running the show. You know, it's a talented team, and you know, and knowing Dan and how he runs his program, it wasn't. He was not expecting to lose to York the way he did, and you know, I'm sure things got a little tougher in the next week of practice, and you know, they came out and beat a solid Geneseo team, and you know, it's going to come down to probably them and York again, I would think, in that sectional bracket. So, you know, they still got a ways to go, but I think they're the team to beat, and I think they showed it by bouncing back.
Yeah, and if you ask the players, that's exactly what they think. They think they're the ones with the target on their back. Vin Molisani mentioned that, but that really hasn't changed things. It's just business as usual for the Red Raiders, and they're really have their sights set on defending their championship come later this month. You're coming off a tough loss to York. I'm sure you didn't play as well as you'd like to in that game, but you guys really had it going tonight.
Yeah, you know, I think being snowed out on Friday always hurts. We always talk about in basketball after a loss how you don't have to wait a whole week like in football and other sports. So that was kind of frustrating. Practice was okay. Just like today, I think we're a little bit sloppy at times, but we went on a couple big runs, which Geneseo wasn't able to answer, and we frustrated Adam pretty good. He's such a good player, and I thought Kyle did a great job playing defense on him, and the help that we were given, you know, I think that hurt their offense quite a bit.
Now, Joe, talk a little bit about the game tonight. You guys came out red hot. You went up 10-2. Then they were able to battle back, but then you guys were just too much for them. You had everything going. Just talk a little bit about the game tonight.
Well, we knew they had two star players. First quarter started out slow, and second quarter went on a run. Just went away from there.
Now, Vin, you're in preparation for sectionals now. Like I said, you're coming off that tough loss to York, but that's a team you might see down the road here again. Are you guys feeling any pressure as the season goes on to repeat as sectional champions, or is it just kind of business as usual for you guys?
It's kind of business as usual for us. We do have a bullseye in our back, but we got a lot of experience coming back, and Coach Dickens been here a few times, so he knows how to handle it.
Now, Kyle, just talk a little bit about you guys in preparation for sectionals. What are you looking forward to over the next week or so, and then when sectionals come around?
Oh, well, we got a good game against Mount Morris coming up, and then we got we got to go hard in practices, and hopefully get the 1 seed, and then it all starts in practice, and then we'll go from there.
Well, it's just like we talked about. Every practice matters. Every drill we're doing matters. You know, you don't want to get lazy in practice, and that transpires over to a game. We've got some really good scrimmages lined up after our season ends. So again, I think those are going to get a little bit more energy out of our guys going against different people than going against their same guys day after day. So we're just trying to get better at everything. You know, we struggled last Wednesday, so we came in and worked on some things offensively to handle the zone, and we just want to keep getting better because you know, eventually we're going to be done. You know, there's only 5 teams that end the season without a loss at the end of the season, and you know, we want to go as far as our talent can take us.
It's something I really want to do. It's going to help everyone on the team in the upcoming future because they're going to want to defend the block again next year.
All right, and once again, Nate, we'd like to remind our viewers that this broadcast is being brought to you by the Tonawanda Valley Federal Credit Union, proud sponsor of Batavia Daily News sports broadcasts. There's not a better time to leap into a new home or spruce up your current home, Nate. TVFCU is waiving the application fee on all mortgages and home improvement loans. Can you believe that?
I'm going to have to stop over.
Yeah, this offer ends March 31st. Rates change weekly, Call 585-343-5627 to schedule your appointment and let the leaping and sprucing begin.
I do need a new roof for my garage, so.
Well, there you go, Nate.
I get a couple bucks and I can throw one on this summer.
Yeah, TVFCU, a great spot for all of your financial needs. But back to the hardwood, Nate. Another defending sectional champion, the Dansville Lady Mustangs, moved up a class this season, but have really battled through a tough schedule and remain on top of their division. But they wouldn't have gotten on top of their division if it weren't for a comeback victory over Livonia this past week, a game we broadcast live on the Daily News YouTube channel, and ended with a Grace Rittenhouse game-winning three-pointer with 5 seconds to go, one of the most exciting games of the year.
That was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I think I told someone I thought they'd kind of run away with it. But,
yep, that's what Chris was thinking as well.
But, Dansville's, they've also battled through injuries and sickness, and, that's not an excuse. They won't use it as an excuse, but, they're finally getting everybody back and getting into the flow. And, even moving up in class, they'll be the team to beat. I think they have a couple losses this year, one to maybe Mercy.
Yeah,
and
it's a double-A school.
Yeah, and I forget who the other one is, but it was a really good team. So, they're going to be ready to go. They've got the talent to do it. They're all back from last year, and like I said, they're going to be the one to beat, and because they're the reigning champs.
And it was really impressive to see them battle through some adversity in that game against Livonia and still able to come away with the win. They were down 10 in the second half after being up 10 in the first half, but able to battle back and win that game is a big win for head coach Kristen Kershner and her girls. And we stopped out after we broadcast that game live, and we spoke with Coach Kershner as well as her Lady Mustangs.
Coach, your girls really showed some grit down the stretch there. It looked like you were going to let that one get away, but you were able to regain yourself and come away with the win. What can you say about these girls' effort tonight?
Their effort, definitely high level. We talked before the game about no matter what happens, no matter how much you get down, you just have to basically decide you're not going to lose the game. And I think that they came out and they had a lot of heart, and they just worked really hard and decided there's no way we can lose tonight. So.
Now, Arayana, they made things tough on all of you girls all night. Livonia did. What can you say about their effort coming out here tonight and really making it tough on you and taking you all the way down to the end?
I think they did it well, but I feel like they got frustrated, and with our pressure, they just couldn't keep up.
It was very exciting. Your adrenaline keeps pumping, and I just love playing games like these.
Yeah, I think defense is the most important part of the game, and that we all need to communicate, and that's what wins games like this, is playing defense all the time.
Now, Grace, you hit that go-ahead, which turned out to be the game-winning three-pointer.
Yeah.
When that thing went down, what were the emotions like for you, just hearing the crowd, your teammates rushing over to you? What was that like?
It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. I haven't hit threes all game, and I don't know, I guess just gotta wait, and then it'll come to you when it means the most.
It just shows us that we just got to play with heart and intentions, and then we're going to make it.
All right, Nate, another defending champ. We got 3 defending sectional basketball champs on this week's show. The Pembroke Lady Dragons. I know you stopped out at practice, spoke with head coach Ron Funke, and 5 of his seniors. They almost couldn't fit in the video. There were so many of them. But they have the full team back from last year. What can you say about this team? Are they destined to defend their sectional championship?
You would think so. They all said that last year even took them a little bit by surprise. As Coach Funke said, that they tried to figure it out along as the season went on and finally got there at the end. And, this year's different. This year they're all coming back, and they're the ones that people are looking at. No one was thinking about, Pembroke last year, and they shocked. They got that win over Geneseo, which they probably shouldn't have. They really were the underdogs. And this year they're not going to be. They're more than likely going to be the number 1 seed. And, they're a talented group. Their 2 leading scorers aren't even the seniors. Those are a pair of juniors. So, and they're balanced all across the board. And, they're just one of those teams that you don't really think about. They're not flashy. They're not, they just get the job done. And, they talk about the game against Elba that they had a couple weeks ago where they were up by 20-something going to the fourth quarter and got outscored 25-2 or something in the fourth quarter and ended up winning by 2 points.
Yeah.
But, it's being kind of a springboard for them to kind of wake up, even more so than the Notre Dame loss earlier in the year. But, yeah, they're likely going to be the number 1 seed if they win Friday night against Bergen. I think their last 2 are pretty easy. So I think they're going to be the ones to beat, and they know they're going to have that target on their back.
Now, that's a championship mentality, viewing a win as something that can really wake you up and springboard you forward. But the future is bright for this Pembroke team, but the future is also right now, and they're looking to defend their sectional title over the next few weeks.
Hey, Coach, obviously it was a historical season last year, and what's it been like this year bringing this whole team back and kind of the excitement that the last 2 years have brought to Pembroke basketball?
Well, I think there's a lot of expectations on us, a lot of pressure. They know it. They want to have a chance to do it again, and they've worked really hard this year, and I think they have a chance to do that.
Yeah, we know that we made history last year for our school, so we know that we have a lot to live up to this year, but we're working hard each day. We're getting better. We take it game by game, and we're hoping to show up for sectionals this year.
They know that they can get the job done. We're asking an awful lot from them. They're working together. They know their roles. Last year was a feeling out process, and we kind of found it towards the end of sectionals.
Yep.
And they're just continuing it this year.
You mentioned the pressure. Do they really feel the pressure to succeed again, or because they've already done it?
I think obviously that's a goal for them. We had a real strong first 3 quarters against Elba, and then I think they kind of felt the pressure in the fourth quarter. And I think that was good in retrospect, because we could learn from it and how to handle that kind of stuff. So it's tough to say, do they feel it? I think they know it's there. It's hard to say if they feel it or not.
You can definitely feel the pressure, like being on top. Last year we were the underdogs coming in, so like if we lost, it was like nobody really thought anything of it. But now it's different to be the focal point of sectionals. So.
You'd think there'd be a lot of pressure, but really we're just excited to be back again and just given the opportunity to be together and play together again. So there's not a lot of pressure to win since we've already done it, but we'd like to do it again.
Obviously the goal is to win sectionals. Would it be a disappointment if you didn't this year?
I mean, it would be disappointing, but we made memories, and last year was great. Like I said, we broke history, so we're hoping to win again.
What does this team have to do to repeat this year?
Well, I think we have to find our consistency. We like to run the ball and get into the open floor, and barring sickness and injury, our kids are ready for the challenge.
All right, Nate. Now, moving off the hardwood and into the hallway, the LeRoy indoor track team, where they do a lot of their practicing, as many indoor track teams in the Northeast do, in the hallways, in the foyers, and whatever you want to say, the cafeteria. I mean, they're all over the place there. Chris Metcalf stopped out and talked with Coach Jay Leitenberger and a few of his athletes. But it's got to be a lot of fun for those kids. I mean, practicing where you walk the halls during school and just getting a different look. I mean, it's got to get monotonous running track sometimes, just running, jumping. But to get a different look at it, it's got to be fun for those kids.
We were there the one day, and there was a girl doing hurdles in the hallway outside the gym. And
she almost took Nate out.
And one day I was over there doing something, and there was a girl high jumping right when you walk into the school. So, yeah, I'm sure Coach Leitenberger makes it fun, and what he's been able to do with that program is beyond impressive. They just won each won the LCAA title, last week, and the team is huge. They got so many kids on that team that just love running track, and you usually don't see that from a smaller school like LeRoy. And like you said, it's got to be fun for them, just not doing the same mundane thing day in and day out. And we looked at the girl and went, what the heck is she doing? She's running hurdles in the hallway. So, whatever he's doing is working, because that's one of the best indoor track teams year in and year out, both boys and girls.
And a lot of that is a testament to the family-type atmosphere that Coach Leitenberger has created, and you'll hear a couple of these athletes speak on that during Chris's interview with the Knights earlier this week.
Yeah, we've got a great group of athletes at this point. We start the season with the full modified team, the full JV team, and the varsity team, and as the season kind of goes down, we dwindle down a little bit. We're down to 16 boys and 16 girls. It'll essentially be our sectional team now. We started the year, we had 90 kids right in the beginning of the season. We had 92 warm-ups in uniforms. We had 90 kids, so it was kind of the very beginning. It was a little tight getting the right kids into the right uniforms. We have outstanding leadership with our teams, just the seniors, the veterans, taking the next generation under their wing. They've all been working together for years, and they're just handing that knowledge down to the next generation. It's what LeRoy track is all about.
I started in 10th grade, and I've grown so much as a person and an athlete. I got a second family. I did basketball the year before that, but going to track, I had a whole different experience, and I felt welcomed by everyone, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
The same exact thing as Allie. Everyone loves each other on this team. We're basically family, and we all work hard. We always want a sectional patch, and we're just always urgent.
Well, I started in 9th grade in outdoor, and ever since then it's just been a lot of hard work, and every day, even over vacation, everyone comes for the most part, and we always have really high expectations, and the focus always is 1 meter at a time, but the end goal is always sectionals.
In indoor, you've got to be innovative. You're always trying to come up with new things. We've got a square that we run around, and if you just run that the whole season long all winter, the kids' minds are going to be gone. So we're always looking for different things to do. We do get gym time about once a week, an hour, 2 hours. Yesterday was our gym time day, so we were able to get in there. We actually pole vault in the gym. We high jump, long jump, triple jump. Our throwers are throwing in the gym. But today is just a day where we're working on technique. It's Wednesday. Yesterday was our speed day. So today is really our technique day. We'll do some handoffs today. We'll get some hurdles time in. Our throwers are going to do some throwing drills in a little bit. So we'll kind of check out some of the different areas and see how innovative LeRoy Winter Track has to be.
It's one of the coolest things that we possibly can do. Because of the weather, with it being snowy outside, it's winter, it's really hard to get all the access to the gear we need, like the pole vault pit for pole vaulters, the long jump pit for long jump and triple jump. So being able to use every little space we can find in the school, it's pretty fun, because you never expect to be long jumping in the hallways you walk for school, or throwing shot put right by your locker. I think we're looking great for sectionals. With these weeks come to sectionals, it's game time. Every day we're all working hard. We're here. We're putting in the time. We're making sure we're keeping up on schoolwork so we can still compete.
It's very exciting. There's a lot of up-and-coming people, and then also for us, the seniors, this is our last shot. We're going to try to go out there and win as much as we can, and hopefully come home to LeRoy with a team title.
All right, Nate, now that's going to do it for our interviews from this week. Great kids that we stopped out and spoke with, great teams, and a lot of success from them expected in the future. But before we get on out of here, we want to thank the Tonawanda Valley Federal Credit Union, once again, right behind Wendy's there in Batavia, 10 Jefferson Square. Just all your financial needs, set up a bank account, something as simple as that. Anything you need, stop out at the Tonawanda Valley Federal Credit Union. I know when I was in high school, they had a branch inside the school. I don't know if that still is going on, but kids used to have accounts there for their lunch money, whether they wanted a snack, something like that. So they've been involved with the community, with athletics, with the youth of Batavia and the surrounding areas throughout the past decade plus. So make sure, if you're looking for anything from a home loan to anything like that, the Tonawanda Valley Federal Credit Union. But we'd like to thank you for joining us. But before we get out of here, we'd like to give a couple shout-outs. The Livonia swim team, a sectional championship on Thursday, and Avon swimming is looking like they're going to be on their way to a sectional title as well. So a lot going on right now, Nate. Just give us a quick synopsis of what you're looking forward to, beginning with Super Sectionals and then moving forward.
Also in that Class B where Livonia won, Batavia-Notre Dame had a pretty decent showing for a small team, and I know we've talked to them before on the show, so give them a shout out. But this week, honestly, I'm just looking forward to the possibility of Mike Rapone getting win number 700. He's going to have at least 2 chances the rest of this year. The way Notre Dame's played, they've come on really strong at the end of the year. He's sitting at 699. They'll be at Lindenville, a team they lost to earlier in the year.
That'll be a big game for them.
Yes, they'll be at Lindenville on Wednesday night, and then we'll host a sectional game when the sectional tournament comes out, I believe, Tuesday the 25th. So there's at least 2 chances to get it. 700 wins, that's amazing. He's been coaching almost as long as I've been alive.
Well, he's been coaching longer than I've been alive.
So yes, definitely looking forward to that, and just kind of looking forward to some of these basketball teams and seeing how they finish down the stretch. Elba got over the emotion of the setting records of Colton Dillon and Colin O'Halloran.
Yeah, Colton Dillon, the all-time leading scorer now for the Lancers. Colin O'Halloran, the all-time leading assist getter.
So, they got over that emotion. They're already locked in as the number 1 seed. Kind of want to see how they finish up. And the aforementioned Pembroke girls, I want to see if they can finish 19-1 and, see what they do at the end of the regular season.
So a lot to look forward to over the next few days and weeks, and we have it all right here on Inside High School Sports, brought to you by the Tonawanda Valley Federal Credit Union. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.